What next after KCSE? Which course can I pursue with the grades that I have? And how do I choose my career path? These are some of the questions students have after completing their secondary education. On this week's episode of Elimu Nguvu, we seek to answer these and other questions you may have as we highlight the Form 4 Leavers Day, which culminated the Kenyatta University Career Week 2020. My name is Priti Mokuhe and welcome to Elimu Nguvu.
I will take a very short time to try to explain to you the career path, how you are supposed to make that choice. I know you, the Form 4s who are finished, immediately the results came out, you could have been very happy. But later on, you're worried, you are confused. Why? For example, you might have gotten an A and you're doing 3 sciences. So, what is the confusion? The confusion is, you can be you can do medicine, you can do law, you can do engineering. So you get confused. So I'm going to first of all try to identify the causes of this confusion, anxiety, or indecision, and then later on I'll try to explain to you the factors that you're supposed to use when you're making that decision. So my presentation will be very short. So what next? What next after KCSE? You did your KCSE, but now the question is, what next? But now there's that confusion. This confusion is brought by what? This is what you're going to explain. So this confusion, first of all, is brought about by these factors. One is what you call career expectations. This is whereby you expected to get an A and then you got a C+. That itself confuses you. Why? Because with an A, you thought you can do law, you can do medicine, you can do engineering, but now you have a C. So you get confused. On the other side also, you could be confused. Why? Because you never thought you'd get a C. So an A. So you're thinking of a C minus. And then all of a sudden, you get an A. So that is one of the reasons as to why you can get confused. The other reason is parental influence and societal influence. This is whereby the parents come and try to influence the decision of a student making a choice. Society also demands, for example, there are some, if you get an A, the society perceives that there are certain courses that you must do. That is probably, they say, you get an A, you can do only medicine, you can do law, you can do engineering. Then the other one is peer pressure. Peer pressure is when you have influence from your peers. I know from the day that the results came out, there is no day that goes when you have not talked with your classmates. And believe you me, there's a lot of change of information. Then the other one is of lack of information. You don't know what a particular course entails. There are also stereotypes. Stereotypes how? Because there are some courses, for example, let me just use an example. There are people who believe that if you come and do agriculture, the agriculture courses here, you must become a farmer. You must become a farmer. And yet, we know very well, like in Kenyatta University, the ones who've gone round, you have not seen any farm anywhere. Why? Because we don't train farmers. We train what? We train managers. And then, of course, there is the wrong information. People make decisions based on the wrong information. A good example is for the ones who want to do law, for example, you'll find that people say that if you want to do law, history is a must. And yet, it is not history. Which is the compulsory subject in law? It is English or Kiswahili. And in history or Kiswahili, you must have a B. Then we go to the other one. Now, let's go now deep into the factors that you're supposed to use when you're making your decision. Number one is passion. Passion. Choose a career that you love. Passion is key. Number two It's ability. Ability in terms of what? In terms of subjects, in terms of grades, and in terms of marks. Why? You could be having a passion to become a doctor, for example. But look at you. In Form 2, did you choose biology? And if you did you perform it well to get the B+? Then we have personality. Gradually, like our VC said, that one of the important key when you're making that decision is your personality. But most of us, we ignore that factor. And I can tell you for sure, if you choose a career that is not in tandem with your personality, then you're in the wrong career. For example, you people who have finished Form 4, I believe if you take yourself back, refresh yourself back in your classroom, we used to have what you call noisemakers, isn't it? Noisemakers. Who can keep quiet whenever a teacher is not in class? In the dining hall, they're making noise. In the dorms, when the lights are supposed to be off, they're still making noise. They are in drama, they are in debating, they are always talking. So you can imagine if such a kind of a person ends up maybe in an office with a computer. That person will be sick. Why? Because he doesn't have what? He doesn't have somebody to talk to, because that is his personality. So it's very good to understand your personality. Then, number 4, you also need to look at the job market. And then you ask yourself 2 questions. 1, this course that I want to do, is it employable? How easily employable is it? Then question number 2, if I cannot be employed, is it possible for this course, all the skills that I have gotten, can it help me to be self-employed? Now, if you answer to the affirmative in all those factors, then you have the right career. But all said and done, these 4 factors are not the only players in the market. They are not the only factors that come into play. So I really also want you to identify some of the other factors which might contribute to your decision making. These include other factors. We have what? First of all, we have peer pressure. And I have said, and this is something we have identified as we give counsel. Why? Because you will find as you make your decision, instead of making it alone, you consult your friend. And in some schools I know, they even have a culture. They say, if you want, we are going to do engineering in a particular university. If you want to do law in a particular university. If you want to do medicine in a particular university. And yet, you are supposed to make your own personal decision. Number 2, of course, is the perceived monetary and material gain. Some of us will choose a career based on the amount of money we perceive that kind of course entails. For example, you might want to become a doctor, not because you have a passion for doctors, but because you know you can be rich. Probably you assume that these doctors who may be like neurosurgeons, the way you are told about neurosurgeons and cardiologists, and then you assume that maybe per every operation they get 1 million shillings. So in your mind, you start working out and saying, if I can do 1 operation per week, and one operation is 1 million, then in a month, how many millions do I have? That is perceived what? Monetary gain. And yet, in the market, in the real world, that is not the case. Then we have influence of social media. I believe most of you are in phones. Whatever in that social media can influence your decision. Then, of course, the availability of information. Like my registrar just said, and I said, he said, we have over 100 programs, degree programs. Probably you did not know about them. You didn't know. But now, you're even confused now. You only knew maybe about 5 courses. But now you're being told there's 100. Now, you even have a bigger what? You have a bigger variety of information. The other one is, of course, parental influence and societal influence. Finally, prestige. Some of us choose a career. Why? We choose a career because of the prestige. I want to be called Dr. Robert. I want to be called engineer. But when it comes to doing a course like agriculture or economics, you ask yourself, what is the prestige in that? So, some of you will make that mistake. Now, let's come to the gist of the matter. Currently, I believe all of you, there's one thing that you are waiting for. It is called KUTV, the selection. All of us, even up to today, have been expecting that they are going to open the portal. All of you. And it's good to understand how you go about choosing your career under KUTV. So, it's also very good to understand the dates which are involved when it comes to that. So, from October to December, there was what you call the school registration. Some of you registered in school. Then on 20th of December last year, the results were announced. Then we were hoping that between the period of January and February, we are normally having what you call the first revision. The first revision. And it's very important for you to get it right. The first revision, it's like it will be the most important aspect of your decision making. The choice you make during that revision will affect you for the rest of your life. So it's very good to understand it. Then, after that revision period is over, you are taken to a second revision. For those ones who did not manage, who are not admitted during the first selection or the first revision. So you will be told, the ones who are left, now can you choose from the remaining courses? So you can imagine somebody who has an A and a B, who could have done a very, very good course, then you are told, they are down. Can you do that? The remaining ones. Then from there, somewhere in March, they are going to have what you call the university placement. And then in April, then you are going to do what? You are going now to have something else called the inter-university transfer. Now this one is just to show you the subjects that you did when you're in high school. We have group 1, that is the compulsory subjects, English, mathematics and Kiswahili, that's compulsory. Then we have the sciences, then we have the humanities. And now, as you consider what you are going to do, those subjects are very, very important. Why? Because, for example, the ones who did biology, the kind of courses you can do are medical courses, biological courses, agricultural courses. Forget about engineering. But if you did physics, then you go engineering way, or what you call pure and applied sciences. Anything to do with computer engineering, software engineering, they require that you must have physics. And apart from physics, they also demand for mathematics. Physics and mathematics, they are like twins.
I hope you have noted down the factors you should take into consideration when choosing a career path. Elimu Nguvu takes a short break, but when we come back, we have a lot more in store for you, so don't go far.